Outlet greatness.
I'm Paul McCallum, CFL kicker, Hall of Famer for 2022, and I'm here on the Only Touch Greatness podcast.
Hey, Chad, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Paul, I was just caught some of your story there. I've always thought Louis is such a legend, of course, Louis Passaglia, around the BC Lions, and if it wasn't for Louis, I mean, he was around for so long, he probably would have been with the Lions a lot sooner. Would you not
have? I think so. I think when he got hurt, and then I think he got hurt first, then Terry Baker in Ottawa, and then Dave Ridgway. I was kind of like the utility kicker in the league. Like if someone got hurt, they would just kind of bring me in, and I was actually lent to Saskatchewan. And so anyway, Louis wouldn't retire. And actually, in 1994, when they won the Grey Cup, I was lent to Saskatchewan. And, obviously they lost. And I came back to BC, and I was watching practice on their run to the Grey Cup. And, they did really well, and they won. And the following season, I was told, Dave Ritchie was told by the owner and by Eric Tillman that they wanted Dave Ritchie to cut Louis because they didn't want to lose me. And Dave Ritchie would give vouch for the story. He said that he wasn't going to be the guy to cut Louis. So I was like, well, and that was in 2005, 2006. So I was like, well, got an opportunity to go somewhere. And Louis didn't retire for another 4 or 5 years. So, he wasn't ready to retire. And I remember Louis saying to me, he says, play as long as you can. He says, because once you're done, you're done. So, good advice, and I'm still enjoying it. But I probably could have, but he wasn't going to leave. So I had to go.
Yeah. And then from sort of the research I did today, that kind of took you on an interesting path. Like you went back to Scotland, you kind of had your soccer roots there, and then you went back to play football. And you must be, I was looking too, you won a World Bowl. And then, of course, you won a Grey Cup. I don't know how many players, you might know this, but how many players, CFL players, have won both? It's got to be pretty neat.
I'm not sure. But what's really cool about that is, so in '89, I went to Scotland to play soccer. And my uncle, because my cousin played in the Scottish Premier League, I think he's 3 years younger than me. My uncle got to know all the managers, so he was able to get me workouts in the Scottish Premier League. So I was with St. Mirren for, I think, 3 months. And then a guy named Colin Miller, who's from Surrey, who I went to school with his little sister. He was a manager player for Hamilton Academicals in the Scottish First Division. So I actually got to go and had a reserve game with them as well. And then just before I came home. So, but my whole family is from Scotland. Like my mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles. And so my mom comes from a family of 4 boys, 4 girls. And 2 of the boys, 2 of the girls came to BC, and the other 4 stayed there, who I had never met. So when I went back to play soccer, I stayed with one of my aunts. That's the first time I met them. So then when I went back again, players, they're from the States. They don't know anybody. But I'd actually leave practice to go to my grandma's house. I'd go out with my cousins. And so for me, it was really cool. And so back then, if you won the first 5 games of the season, you hosted the World Bowl. And so we knew we were hosting the World Bowl in Edinburgh, Scotland. So my parents and my aunts and uncles, everyone from Canada, flew over. So my uncle hired a 42 seat coach bus, and I had my entire family at that game. So it was pretty cool. It's something that nobody knows, really, but I had a pretty interesting time in my football career where I could go up and play elsewhere and have all my family with me.